Welcome to another competitive commander gameplay video. In today's video, the fighters are Austin playing Yidris, Ben playing Teysa, Ian playing Karador, and Evan playing Yawgmoth. Austin won the die roll and goes first. Austin plays an island and suspends both a Lotus Bloom and a Mox Tantalite. Ben plays a Fetid Teeth for the turn. Ian plays a Godless Shrine untapped and casts an Entomb, searching for a Golgari Grave Troll. Evan plays a Cabal Stronghold. Austin plays a Forest and passes. Ben plays a Swamp and casts a Lightning Greaves. Ian plays a Silent Clearing and a Nihil Spellbomb. Evan plays a Swamp. Austin draws and passes. Ben plays a Reliquary Tower and casts Teysa Orzhov Scion. Ben equips Teysa with the Lightning Greaves, then moves to combat, attacking Ian for 2. Ian dredges Golgari Grave Troll, then passes the turn. Evan plays a Swamp and casts a Dreadhorde Invasion. Austin sacrifices the Lotus Bloom for blue and casts a Rhystic Study. Austin also casts a Whispersoak Cloak. Ben plays a Plains, casts Solemn Simulacrum, searching for snow-covered plains, and moves to combat and attacks Evan for 2. Ian casts a Bog Initiate. During Evan's upkeep, he gets a Zombie Army token. Evan plays a Swamp and casts Yawgmoth Thran Physician. Austin plays a Steam Vent tapped and casts a Chromatic Lantern. Ben plays a Swamp and casts a Masterbind's Acquisition, then moves to combat, attacking Evan with Solemn and Austin with Teysa. Evan blocks the Solemn. Ian casts a Blood Artist. During Ian's end step, Evan sacrifices the zombie to put a neg1 counter onto Ian's Blood Artist and draws a card. Evan gets another Zombie Army token during his upkeep. Evan plays a Swamp for turn and casts a Soul Ring, then casts a Pawn of Ulamog. Evan then moves to combat and attacks Austin for 2. Austin plays a Hinterland Arbor, then casts a Time Warp. Austin plays a Mountain, then casts Yidris Maelstrom Wanderer, and equips the Whispersoak Cloak onto Yidris. Ben casts a Soaring, plays an Orzhov Basilica, returning the Reliquary Tower. Then casts Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord, using the +2 ability, shooting Ian's Bog Initiate for 1 damage. Ian sacrifices the Silent Clearing, then plays a Mortuary Miner, returning Blood Artist to the top of his deck. At the end of Ian's turn, Evan sacrifices a Zombie Army to draw a card. Evan gets another Zombie Army token from Dreadhorde Invasion. Evan plays a Swamp and casts a Zulaport Cutthroat. Evan sacrifices the Zombie Army to draw a card, joining the table for 1. Then casts Putrid Imp, sacrificing the Imp to Yawgmoth, joining the table for 1. Getting an Eldrazi Scion from the Pawn of Ulamog, and sacrificing the Scion to Yawgmoth to draw a card and to drain the table for 1. Then casts a Bog Initiate. Evan sacrifices the Bog Initiate to draw and drain the table for another 1. Getting a Scion from the Pawn of Ulamog and sacrificing the Scion to Yawgmoth to draw a card and drain the table for another 1 life. Austin moves to combat, attacking Evan with Yidris. Ben casts Oblation, targeting the Whispersoak Cloak. Evan then sacrifices the Zulaport Cutthroat to put a neg1 counter onto Yidris. Getting a Scion, sacrificing said Scion to put another neg1 counter onto Yidris, then blocking Yidris with Yawgmoth. Austin then Cyclonic Rifts Yawgmoth to Evan's hand, getting 3 damage through due to trample. Austin's second main phase, he casts Oko Thief of Crowns, cascading into Skull Rack. Austin then uses Oko's +1 ability to turn the Pawn of Ulamog into a 3/3 Elk. Then he casts a Sensei's Divining Top, cascading into a Chrome Mox, imprinting a Wheel of Fate. He then casts a Worldly Tutor, cascading into a Mox Amber. Austin searches for Consuming Aberration with the Worldly Tutor. Austin then uses Scroll Rack. He plays a Rootbound Crag, cast Carpet of Flowers, cascading into an Ancestral Visions, drawing 3 cards. Ben plays a Reliquary Tower, then casts a Corpse Knight along with a Revelark. Corpse Knight draining the table for 1 when Revelark enters. Then follows up with Darkest Hour, equipping Lightning Greaves to Revelark, then moving to combat attacking Oko. Using Teysa's ability to exile Yidris, Revelark's Leaves trigger goes onto the stack, targeting Corpse Knight and Teysa. Teysa's trigger ability goes onto the stack as well, with 2 spirits on their way. Both triggers resolve. Ben uses Soren's minus ability to return Revelark to the field. Then he equips Teysa with Lightning Greaves. Ian draws a card and passes the turn. Evan gets another zombie army token from Dreadhorde Invasion. Ben activates Teysa to exile the Pawn of Ulamog. Teysa's trigger resolves and Ben gets 3 spirits, each opponent losing 3 life to Corpse Knight. Revelark's trigger also resolves, getting Solemn Simulacrum, each opponent losing 1 life. Ben activates Teysa again to exile Evan's zombie token. Teysa's trigger resolves and each opponent loses 3 life. Evan plays a swamp and passes the turn. Austin casts Reality Shift on Corpse Knight. Ben responds by sacrificing 3 spirits to Teysa to exile the Corpse Knight. In response to the death triggers on Teysa, Austin responds with Chaos Warp on Darkest Hour. Off of the Chaos Warp, Ben gets Anointed Possession, then gets 6 spirit tokens from Teysa's death triggers since 3 black creatures died before the Chaos Warp. Austin then casts a Temporal Extortion. Ben pays half his life to counter the spell. Ben plays a Plains, then uses Soren's plus ability to shoot Austin for 1. Ben casts Sword of the Animist, then equips the sword to Teysa. Then he moves to combat and attacks Austin for 11, searching for a basic land with the Sword of the Animist. Ian plays a High Market and still can't do anything. Evan gets another zombie token from Dreadhorde Invasion. Evan plays a Swamp. Evan uses Cabal Stronghold's second ability to create 8 black mana, then casts a Scheming Symmetry targeting himself and Austin. After searching, Evan casts a Yawgmoth, then casts a Ravenous Chupacabra. On enter, killing one of the spirit tokens. Then uses Yawgmoth's ability to sacrifice a zombie army to kill another spirit and draw a card. Then casts an Entomb, searching for a Cavalier of Night. Then Evan casts a Grey Merchant of Asphodel. On enter, Devotion equals 7, which kills Austin. Afterwards, Evan sacrifices the Chupacabra to kill another spirit and to draw a card, along with sacrificing Grey Merchant to Yawgmoth to kill another spirit. Ben starts off with using Soren's plus ability to shoot Evan for 1 damage. Ben moves to combat, which is a total of 7, but Evan blocks Teysa and only takes 5. After attacking, Ben passes. Ian draws a card and passes the turn. Evan gets another zombie army token during his upkeep. Evan plays his Swamp. Taps Cabal Stronghold for 9 black mana, then casts a Songs of the Damned, getting 8 black mana. Then casts an Ayara, First of Locthwain. Evan casts an Animate Dead, targeting Grey Merchant of Asphodel. In response, Ian uses his Nihil Spellbomb to exile Evan's graveyard and to draw a card. Evan then uses Yawgmoth's ability to sacrifice the zombie army. Then casts a Vengeful Vampire, using Yawgmoth's ability to sacrifice the vampire to draw a card. The vampire comes back with a +1/+1 counter, and each opponent loses a life from Ayara. Then Evan casts a Desecrated Tomb. Evan sacrifices Ayara to draw a card. Then casts the card he drew, which is Reanimate, targeting Ayara. Evan wins through looping Vengeful Vampire and the token he gets off of the Desecrated Tomb. How he does this is by sacrificing the vampire to draw a card. The vampire comes back to the field, which triggers the Desecrated Tomb. He then sacrifices the bat token to Yawgmoth to put a -1/-1 counter onto the vampire, getting rid of the +1/+1 counter that was on it. Then repeating the cycle due to needing to pay life from Yawgmoth's ability. This is not infinite until there is a Blood Artist effect on the board, like Ayara. So Evan is able to complete this loop each time the vampire comes back from the graveyard. Our setup for these first few videos is terrible. We will have a better setup within the next couple of videos. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe.